Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to today's webinar event. My name is Joshua, and I'm going to be your presenter today. Our topic is financial reports or accounting reports, whichever you choose to call it. We're going to be working with our Accounting 201 or A201 workbook, pages 10 to 13. It's probably not going to be a terribly long topic today or long webinar event, may not even take the full 20 minutes, but we do want to let you know what we're using as our basis or subject matter for the event. For those who've never attended a webinar event before, if we go to our website and you go to our beginning link at the top here at our home page, hopefully everybody can see the menu. We've got our training workbooks link here, and it does, you can purchase the workbooks from here, but down here under, we've got a lot of them. The program is very large and complex. But down here under accounting, we're using Accounting 201. Let me get my highlighter out here. Accounting 201, and it's the section right here, financial reports. Okay. Again, it probably won't take up the full 20 minutes, but we'll see. If you've never attended a webinar event, welcome. I'll be certainly happy to answer your questions, if not during the event, after we've finished up the topic at hand. If you have a click the little red arrow at the top of the control bar there to minimize your webinar control panel. Gets it out of your way, or drag it off to your second desktop on a dual monitor setup. If you have questions for me, please type those into the questions pane of the webinar. We keep everybody muted here just because, it would be too noisy if we didn't. But I'm certainly happy to get to those questions eventually, and I'll try to keep an eye on them during the event. So we're here to talk about accounting reports today. And really, this is a fairly basic event from the standpoint that basically we're going to show you where and how to access the accounting reports. We're not going to be going into the reports in any depth in terms of constructing them or building them or manipulating them. It's primarily where to find them and the multiple report options. So once we get into our main accounting portal here, we're going to be looking at our reports in two places here. So if I get out my highlighter, we're going to be looking at the reports button right here in the middle. Okay. Hey, I've actually gotten pretty good at drawing those arrows or those circles. And up here in the upper right, we're going to be looking at the reports and export option right up here in the upper left. Okay. So basically, we're just going to show you where and how to use these or create these groupings of the reports, as well as where to find the single reports. I work with, a dozen or 2 dozen users on Church Windows every single day. And commonly, users will click on the one called Reports here in the middle, the little printer icon. And when we click on that, it opens up our window called Multiple Reports. And what this does is it reveals on the list on the left, all of our accounting reports that are available for reporting right here. Available reports, and the list is listed right down here. Okay? And so if you reprint the same reports each and every month, say for your committees, this is going to become a very effective window for you. Let's say, for example, I have the same monthly reports that I distribute to my finance committee or board or consistory or presbytery or whomever each and every month. I want to create a grouping of those reports so I don't have to reselect them every time. So let's say we use our balance sheet, so we're going to highlight our balance sheet under available reports, click the right facing arrow to add it to our selected reports window list on the right. We're going to add our fund activity report, our treasurer's report, and our summary of cash activity. And I go, okay, great, my reports are selected, but I also wanted to change the desired order. I don't want them to print in that order. So then we would highlight, say I want to put treasurer's report first, so I would simply highlight treasurer's report in the right-hand list and click the up arrow here on the right-hand side to move that. So now I've got treasurer's report, balance sheet, fund activity report, and summary of cash activity. As I go through printing each of them, they will come up in that exact order. Okay? But I want to save this. So how I do that now is I would go down to the very bottom here to my saved report groups right down here. Saved report groups. There's nothing in the menu now. I've never created one before, so the list is empty. If I click the down arrow, there's nothing there. So just to the right end of the line, I'm going to click the little disk. Notice my floating help message says Save New Report Group. So once I click on that, it opens up my enter a name for my group. So I'm going to click in there. I'm going to call this Monthly Committee Reports. And I click OK. Okay. So now I do have something in my menu. And folks, you can create as many of these report groupings as you wish. Okay? And I'll walk you through how we'll come back and bring that up next time. It's literally just coming in here, choosing it from the list, and it'll just pre-populate those reports in the requested order automatically. But now simply when I click on Next, it'll open up my Treasurer's Report options, ready for me to enter my, for, let's say I want to run this for, say, February, or here we are at the end of March. We'll assume it's the end of March, and I'm printing it for the month of March. Yeah, I'm going to, once I do that, I would simply click Print, after checking my columns and my custom groups and what have you, making my selections for the report essentially. Click Print. It'll then open up the preview of my Treasurer's Report. I can then physically send it to my printer or export it, however I'm wanting it. And then once I've done that, I would simply close out, cancel out of my Treasurer's Report options using the X in the upper right corner. And then it'll just automatically open up my balance sheet options. Again, similarly making my selections for the period, whatever I'm wanting for the report. Click Print. Opens up. I can send that to my printer or export it to save it. Again, and as the process continues through all four of each of the reports that I'm producing here. So once I cancel out or close out of my balance sheet options, it'll open up my fund activity report and then subsequently into my summary of cash activity. Okay. So as I close, without even going to the preview, as soon as I close out, it just opens up summary of cash activity, ready for me to do the same thing ad nauseum until I'm done. So I've printed my reports for this month of March. I want to now come back in and I want to produce those same reports for now the month of April. So I would similarly come back and go to Reports again. And same thing now, instead of reselecting the reports, I would simply come down to my saved report group, choose the group name I'm wanting. It puts the same reports in the list in the order that I'd set them before, and the process starts over. I simply click Next to open up the reports, preview, and print them, and get them, each and every time the same way. I like these kinds of things in the software because they minimize the possibility for me making mistakes on things. Okay? So in this case, the reports will always be in the same order. I could make a mistake by choosing something incorrectly on one of the report options, but at least in terms of the output of the reports themselves, they'll be the same each and every time. So my committee certainly can count on consistency that way. And again, I can create as many of these report groupings as I wish. Okay? So I'm getting a question here. Let me see what I got. Can I prepare and save a custom report, for instance, one that shows fundraiser income, expenses, and net profit? Boy, Jeff, I'm not sure. That depends on where. Obviously expense and income, but net profit would be probably your fund activity report. But that may be a question that you might want to give me a call on through support on. I'm certainly happy to talk about it with you, but I need more information. We wouldn't use the reports this way for that. That sounds like that's a more specific report that we're seeking. Please call me. So, as I said earlier, at the very, very beginning of the event, a lot of times users will just assume that they can access their reports only through this reports printer and that multiple report groups each time. Not so. If we go up to our reports and export at the very top, notice that below that the buttons then change. We've got the little down arrows next to each and every one of them. So when I click on, say, Financial, you notice the little silver arrow pointing down in the bottom left corner. When I click on that, it brings up a list of the reports that are in that menu. So this is how I will access a single report generally when I want it. And if we click under, say, transaction, we get more detailed reports, transactions reports. Then we work over to our worksheets list. And then we've got our budget report, our print check screen, because even though it's not really a report per se, it is something that you do print out of your printer, so we consider it or classify it as a report. You've got your 1099 miscellaneous and 1096 reports here. So, if you want to produce your 1099s and 1096 for your contractors from the accounting module, that's where you would do that. And we have our export of the data, essentially the data dump from the software. So yeah, when I want to get into a single report, I'll come up here and go to Financial, Treasurer's Report. It's a couple mouse clicks, maybe it's 2 as opposed to 4, perhaps, like we would do in our custom groups or multiple report groups. But the same thing, I would simply come into the, Treasurer's Report options, make my desired selections, choose a fund if I need to, and then simply click print to get to the preview of the report, or export it as the case may be. Print it to get me right to the report. Then I'm only accessing one report singly as opposed to all of the reports under our multiple reports screen. Like I said, I'm fond of going up to reports and export and just choosing a single report. But I can absolutely see the usefulness, of using the multiple reports, especially if I'm wanting to produce the same reports for my groups or my committees each and every month. Okay? So it's just different ways of being able to access the reports, and how do you prefer to get into them to be able to access them. But that's it, folks. That's basically our topic for the day. It's, again, only about a 12-minute event today so far. Again, sometimes these events don't last the full 20 minutes, but there will be another webinar event that will go into more detail of the reports at some point in future on the version 19. I think it's probably, if you are looking for more detail, what I'm going to recommend is go to the website right now. I don't want to go to Chrome. Let's go back to regular Internet Explorer here. Let's go up to Support Center and let's see what we've got. So if we go up to the Support Center, the page loads, and we're going to click in our search here, and we're going to type in reports, and we're going to look under accounting and click search. Yeah, and here we've got accounting exporting reports, accounts payable reports, reports for financial meetings. That's very similar probably to the one that I've just gone through right now. Internal office reports in accounting, and some of these, exporting reports to Excel. Folks, there's lots of information out here for you that's already available from previous webinars. That's 95% of it or more is going to be still effective for you. But please, we're working on the April webinar events now. If you're just be patient with us. We're going to have that out between now and the end of the week. We'll have that new list of April events up there, and we'll have more of these events available for you free next month as well. So, but that's our topic, folks. Let me see if we've got any other questions coming in over here. I don't see any. We'll have this event on our website by the end of the week. Why can't you include sub-funds in separate subtotals? Well, Michael, I'm not sure exactly. Sub-funds, when we've got a ledger-subledger relationship, we're really saying that we want to restrict those funds to always be reported together, and we don't want to split them up. I guess that's as much as I can tell you without knowing more information about the question. But, yeah, basically when that ledger is set up, we're basically saying these accounts are exclusive to this ledger. We don't want to be able to report on them separately other than inside the ledger. Again, that may be a question you need to contact support so we can get more details of what you're trying to seek or, to do or want out of it. I'd like to see how to change defaults in a report. Will that be offered at some point? I'm not sure, Ginny, what you're saying about defaults in reports. Reports will, like in this case, we can save report groupings, but like when you go to something like your treasurer's report or your fund activity report, it's going to kind of reset you back to the defaults each and every time. I mean, it's going to remember things like column selections and orders that you make, but generally it doesn't save anything in terms of our selections on our initial report page. It's always going to revert back to the basic structure until you come in and change it. So again, maybe I might recommend Ginny looking at some of those other webinar links or events or movies that we've got out there on the website, see if that may offer some insight for you. But we will definitely have other webinar events that go into more detail on the manipulating and the customizing of reports for sure. All right. Well, I'm not seeing any other questions coming in. I know this was a very basic webinar event, folks, but I hope it's been somewhat helpful for you. Is there a way to connect a separate report engine to the SQL database? Yeah, there's no way to connect anything in Michael into Church Windows with regards to SQL. We really pretty much locked down control of that. If anything, I would recommend looking at it the other way, maybe dumping the reports out of Church Windows, using the export function into another program or another database that way. We definitely do have exporting, reports from Church Windows and the data out of there on our website there that may be more helpful. All right. Again, I hope this has been helpful, folks. Again, please contact technical support if you have questions, 800-533-5227, or of course you can send email questions to support@churchwindows.com. Just please include your Church Windows customer number or contact information with us. We'll certainly be happy to respond by telephone or email. But we've got one more webinar left in the month of March, and keep an eye out on the website for those April events as we get them added. Again, thank you so much, everybody. Have a good day. We'll talk to you when you have any more questions or see you at another event. Thank you. Bye-bye.